Hi everyone, this is Maria, and recently I came across this really cute doll, this doll kit at our local 99-cent store. It's made by My Studio Girl. I actually found 5 different sets, but I'll share those in a separate video that I'll link in this tutorial. But anyhow, for now I thought it would be fun to show you how to put together this My Precious Pal doll named Lucy. She's easy to sew, and the best part is, you guys, when you're all done, you can feel really proud of making it yourself. So this is a rather long tutorial, so I want you to feel free to skip ahead to the parts that you want to watch. Also, if you don't have a 99-cent store in your area, you can still find the My Precious Pal dolls online at places like eBay and Amazon. Though keep in mind, you may pay more than the discounted price I got them for at our 99-cent store. So let's get started, you guys, with this fun sewing tutorial. What we're going to do is we're going to open the box, and you can just go right in the back. There's these tabs that you can just pull out, and the box is going to tear a little bit maybe, and just slip that right out. And then also I just carefully undo this, because while I was working on my doll, I would put some of the supplies back in here because I didn't want my cat to get any of my supplies. And so you're going to get a package of stuffing here. This is what you're going to stuff the doll with, right there. And then this, you can see how everything comes nice and neat inside this package. There's instructions in here, and you can see the photographs. They're easy to follow. And so you just go ahead and open this up. And also I saved this plastic and put some of my supplies back in here, like my thread. So here are the easy to follow instructions, and then here we have the thread. We're going to be using brown thread for the hair and then the white thread for everything else. It comes with ribbon, so the ribbon is for the hair and also for the little purse, and then there's some pink embroidery thread here, and so we're going to use that, I think, for the flower for the bunny rabbit. Also in this sewing project kit, you're going to find this sheet of paper that has a list of different stitches. In this project, we're going to be using the running stitch and the double running stitch. And then you're going to get all of these pre-cut felt pieces that are going to make up your doll. The only other thing you're going to need for this project is a pair of scissors and also something to stuff the stuffing in your doll. And I'm going to use this pen. So the first thing I'm going to do is match up these pieces and set them aside, and then I'll just work on them as I come to them. And so here's the little dress. And here is the bunny rabbit. For a second there, you guys, I thought I lost the flower, but there it was. And here are the legs. And so we have 2 sets right here, front and back. And so we're going to match them up. Just going to match them up just like this. And here's the other one. So those are the legs. And then here are the arms. And so I want to match these up. It just makes it easier, you guys, and it moves along more quickly if you have everything matched up beforehand. And then here's the purse. And so there's 3 pieces for the purse. Now here's a piece, you guys, that has some little holes. You can see right up here. They're all pre-punched, but the 2 little holes where the purse strap will go. So this will go in the back. And I'm just going to put this here, and then that one will lie on top. And then here is the body of the doll. And so you can see here's the back, so we're just going to turn it around, and then we're going to do that. Just put them right on top of each other. And so I like to do this part last, you guys, so I'm just going to set the doll aside. These are the pieces that I want to work on first. And so I'm going to get my thread. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brown thread off of here because I can't get to the white thread with this other color thread here. And I'm just going to set it aside. This is for the doll's hair anyways. And so we're left here with the white thread. This is like an embroidery thread. So if you run out, you can go to your craft store and pick up a little thing of embroidery thread, you guys. So here are the 2 sewing needles that come with every doll kit. And so the needles are not sharp. They're made of plastic. And you can even see the eye of the needle. It's got a pretty big eye right there, so you won't have any trouble threading your needle. So far, I've only needed 1 needle per project, and so I've even have leftovers from the other dolls that I've made. But I assume that they put 2 needles in there just in case you lose one. And so I always try to keep track of my needle while I'm working. So let's go ahead and make the legs first. And I've got my thread here, and I'm just going to estimate that that's about a foot, about 12 inches. And I'm going to go about another 12 inches. And so maybe I'll go about 3 feet, you guys. And so you can just estimate it, just eyeball that measurement. And because if you run out of thread while you're working on a piece of the project, you can always rethread it. I'm just going to put a knot at the bottom of my thread, just tie a knot. You can do this 2 or 3 times. And so sometimes I notice if I only do it twice, it may go through one of the punched holes. And sometimes it doesn't. So you can experiment with this. And like I said, just take your time. And so what I did was I just watched television. I just put on some of my favorite old movies, and time just flew by. And I just put my pieces of thread off to the side. And then here is the other end of the thread. Also, I want to mention here, you can see how the thread is frayed there. And sometimes that makes it harder to put through the eye of the needle. So I'm just going to snip that off and put it right through the eye of the needle. I'm going to pull that through. And there we go. We have the knot at the end of our thread. And you can see when I put the thread through the needle, see how I pulled it through? And so it doesn't quite go all the way down to the length of the other side, but it goes down pretty far. And as you're working, you pull it up. And so I'm going to put this together. But before we get started, I want to show you these tiny little punctured holes, these pre-punctured holes. And so that's what I mean. They've made it really easy for us. We don't have to use a sewing machine or anything like that. And so we're going to take our needle and we're going to put it through the back. And if you can't see it, what I like to do is just fold it right over. You can see there's some at the top also. And go right in there and pull it all the way through. And then we're going to go to the next punctured hole and pull it all the way through. It's really easy, you guys. And then we're going to go to the next one. If you're ever in doubt, you can always look underneath to make sure that you're going into the right hole. Now this one here, okay, I'm glad this happened because look, you guys, I should have gone right in there. I knew immediately I had made a mistake when I saw how large this was. And so what you can do to get out of this, and you can see I'm making a bigger mess out of this, is I'm going to remove the thread from my needle and I'm just going to pull it out. And then we're going to do it all over again. So now I'm going to make sure I get it in the proper little tiny punctured hole. There we go. And then I'm going to come right back up. And so, I mean, if you make a little mistake, I mean, I've made a few little mistakes, but you know what? Don't worry about it because when you get your doll all together, the little outfit will cover a lot of those little mistakes. And I'm sure I'll make a few more along the way that I can show you. And so you see, once you get the hang of it, you just kind of start moving faster. And also you can see it may knot up at the bottom. And so I was getting a little too confident there, you guys. And so we're just going to go all the way around. By the way, you guys, this is called the running stitch. And you can see I did this again. I even have my glasses on and I missed that hole. But no problem, because I'm taking my time. I'm not stressing out, you guys. And we're just going to keep sewing all the way around, and I'll be right back. So now we've gone all the way around the doll's leg with the running stitch. And so now we're going to do the double running stitch. And so what you're going to do is you're going to turn your project around the doll's leg, and then you're going to take your needle, and now you're going to fill in all of these gaps here. And so we're going to push our needle down right here. You can see right there. And you're just going to pull it through. And then you're going to come right up here. And again, if you have trouble seeing that, just go underneath and you could see. And you're going to pull that through. Also, I wanted to mention that as you go along, you're going to be pulling your thread up higher. Okay? And then we're going to do this, come up again, and push the needle through on the next gap. And you can see how we're filling in the gaps. See how we're filling in these gaps compared to these that aren't filled yet? And so we're just going to go around. I'm not sure if I'll have enough thread. If I don't, I'll just have to tie a knot on the back and rethread this again. And so let's go ahead and see how far we can go. All the way around with the running stitch, and we have a little bit of thread left, and so I'm going to turn this around. You can see there's a gap here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through one more time here. You could actually do it a couple of times, and that will also hold your knot in place because you'll have it there several times. And so, but since I'm running low on thread, I'm just going to do it once. And then I personally am just going to take my needle and go underneath that stitch right there, pull it through, and make my knot that way. I'm sure there are other ways to make a knot, but this is the way I've always done it. And so I'm just going to do that and maybe do it one more time. And then I'm going to snip the thread. And there you go, you guys. We have our first doll leg. And so I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to sew the other one, and I'll be right back. So both of the doll legs are sewn, so let's go ahead and sew the doll arms. so the next thing we're going to sew is the little jumper dress and the pocketbook. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the top of the dress, and I'm going to take this little pocket and I'm going to line up all the tiny little punctured holes. And so let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to take my needle, my sewing needle, and I'm going to put the needle through that first little hole right there and the first tiny little hole in the pocket so it matches up right. And then let's go ahead and just pull that right through, and there we have it. And then just go ahead and sew the rest of it. So now the sides of the dress are sewn, but we're not going to sew the straps until we place this on the doll. So we have 3 pieces to this pocketbook. We have the flap, and that's going to go here, and then we have the 2 pieces of the purse. Let's go ahead and sew this together. So now we're going to line up all of these tiny little holes with the ones on the front of the pocketbook. And I'm going to take my threaded needle and I'm going to go right, this one right here at the corner, the little tiny punctured hole, and I'm going to line it up with this one here. And then I'm going to pull my thread through. So then I'm just going to keep my finger right inside the pocketbook just so I can keep it open and look at the stitches on the other side, the little holes on the other side. There we go. just to get it going here. And just take your time. So now we have the flap attached to our pocketbook, and so we're going to turn this around, and we've got those two tiny little holes right there on each side of the pocketbook. And we're going to take one of these ribbons. The kit comes with 3 ribbons, so 2 of them are for the hair, and this one is for the pocketbook. And so you can just slide this right through the eye of the needle. It will make it a lot easier. And just pull that in just like you do with your thread. And we're going to put this right through here. And you want to put the knot on the inside, okay? So I'm going to go from the outside in. There we go. I'm just going to pull this through, and with your other fingers just sort of hold this back, and we're going to put a knot on this end right here. And just a little double knot. There's one. And there's 2. And I'm just going to snip it just a little bit at an angle. And so then you can just carefully slide that through, and you can see the knot will hold right there. And let's go ahead and do the other side. So there's our purse strap. Just going to pull on that gently. You don't want to pull too hard, because on one of my other ones I pulled a little too hard and it went right through there. And so you don't want to pull too hard. And so there you go. There's our pocketbook. So now it's time to make this really adorable bunny rabbit. And so I'm just going to set the flower right over here. And I'm going to pick up my bunny. I have my needle threaded. And I'm going to start right here, right at the bottom here, right below the belly. And I'm going to leave this open. I'm not going to stitch this yet, because this is where we're going to stuff the bunny with the polyester fill, the stuffing. And then I'm just going to pull the thread through, and then we can sew the feet, the hands, and the ears afterwards. So I did the running stitch once around the rabbit, and now we're going to do the double running stitch. So that means we're going to go all the way back. But I wanted to show you here that I am running out of thread, and we still have to sew the doll together. So what I've done is I'm going to use some of my smaller scraps of thread. So now I'm going to go all the way back around. So we're all done sewing the bunny rabbit, and it turned out really cute. The stitching looks really good from the front. And you can see the opening here on the side where we're going to stuff it in just a minute. but what I want to show you is the back. You can see all of the little knots because of all of the little threads that I used. You can actually make this where it looks smoother from the back if you use one long continuous thread. You're going to have to do the double running stitch, so I would say enough thread to do the whole rabbit going once around, and you're just going to have to find your way around. You can go back and come back forward, whatever works. And then when you do the double running stitch, then you can use another long thread and come back. And let me go ahead and show you the difference. I just showed you this way to try to make it a little easier for you guys, especially if you've never sewn before, but there are other ways. And so let me show you this one, and you can see the difference, you see. And so anyways, like I said, whatever works. Now we're going to open our stuffing in this little bag. And you may have extra stuffing left over that you can save for other dolls if you run out. Same with the thread. I'm going to use a pen to stuff my stuffing into the bunny rabbit, but you can use anything that you like a chopstick or maybe even a crochet needle or something like that. And so let's go ahead and stuff the bunny rabbit, and then we're going to sew it closed. So I'm just going to stuff it in here with my finger just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my pen and just stuff the stuffing in there. And so I think that's enough stuffing in there. So let's just go ahead and sew this closed. Just like that, just the same thing, just the running stitch. And then you're going to take your bunny rabbit and you're going to place him right inside of this pocketbook. And doesn't that look really cute? And so you really don't even pay attention to the knots because this is going to be against the doll, because the doll is going to be carrying this like a shoulder bag. The next thing we're going to do is stuff the doll's legs and the doll's arms. And so we have left an opening at the top of each doll leg and doll arm, just like this. And so you'll also notice those little holes here, the pre-punched holes. And so we are going to match those up to the body too. But what I like to do, what I find is once I stuff the doll's legs, I like to sew it shut because I feel that it reinforces it a little bit more. So let's go ahead and start stuffing these doll legs. So what you're going to do is just get it started by pushing it in just a little bit with your fingers. And then just start pushing it in. There it goes. And you're going to stuff it all the way to the bottom. It doesn't take long to do this at all, you guys, you see? And so let's go ahead and continue, and I'll be right back. Now that we're done stuffing the doll's legs and the doll's arms, it's time to put the doll together. We're going to use two different colors of thread to put our doll together. We're going to use the brown thread for the hair and the white thread for the rest of the doll's body. We're also going to attach the doll's legs and the doll's arms to the body. And so we're going to line up these small little punched holes, the ones that I sewed closed, which you don't have to do. And we're just going to line them up, and then we're going to sew them in place. I'm also going to leave the top portion of the doll's head open so we could stuff the body. So I'm going to start in this corner right here, and then we're just going to continue with the running stitch. now that the doll's arms and legs are attached to the doll's body, let's go ahead and go back with a double running stitch. We're just going to go all the way around this way. And so you don't have to go down by the legs or anything like that, just the torso where the blouse is. And we're going to come right back up, and then we're going to start with the hair. So since I had a long piece of thread, I think I'm going to make it back all the way. Now I'm adding the stuffing through the top of the doll's head. And so the instructions show to leave this portion of the body open to put the stuffing in. So I've done it both ways, and I find it much easier to go through the top of the head. So we just have a couple of more steps and we'll be all done making our doll, you guys. And so I forgot to add the flower to the bunny. And again, there's those little tiny holes there, and we're just going to sew it right there on the ear, right above the eye. And so I already have my thread, pink thread on my needle here. And so I think I'm just going to go right here at the bottom of the ear. So I'm just going to add another stitch, and then we're just going to knot it off in the back. Okay, so there's the bunny with the little flower, and we're going to tuck it right back into its little purse here. It looks so cute. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to slip the little dress over the doll's body, and then we're going to sew the straps down. Just like this, just like that, and then you're going to pull the dress over her hips, and you could just sort of fold the doll in to make it a little easier. So you can see there are two tiny little holes, and so we're just going to match them up and go through the back and go through the first hole. And I have my thread, it's knotted, and then we're going to go through the second one, and we're going to do that a couple of times, maybe about 3 times, so we make sure we lock in that stitch. And then we're going to do the same to the other one on the other side. Then we're going to just pull gently our little dress down. Look how cute that is, you guys. It is so cute. And the last 2 things we're going to do is take these 2 blue ribbons that came with this kit, and we're going to put them in her ponytails. We're going to tie them on, and now all we have to do is slip her pocketbook with her pet bunny over her head. So I've removed the bunny from her pocketbook, and I'm just going to slip the strap over her head gently, and we're going to put her bunny right inside. So here she is. Meet my precious pal, Lucy. I think she turned out super cute. I hope you have fun sewing your own Precious Pals by my studio girl. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy sewing, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.